form of authentication apart from your username and password. We also talked about email validation and authentication mechanism using things like sender policy framework, domain key, identified mail, and also DMA, how you can use all of these things to authenticate and validate your email to reduce spoofing so that people will not be spoofing your domain. We also spoke about tenant branding, how tenant branding can be used to reduce phishing attacks, and we spoke about exchange online protection. Any emails going in and out of Office 365 would definitely go through Exchange Online Protection. According to Microsoft, Exchange Online Protection screens or scan more than 6 billion emails every month. So, and what does it contain? It has things like connection filtering, which controls the kind of people IP that can connect to your organization. So let's assume you've blocked an IP from connecting or sending email. When that email is coming, it checks the source IP. If it falls within that category, it blocks the email. Then after that, it goes through your anti-malware. There's an anti-malware filtering mechanism in place in EOP that scans for anti-malware. And also you have mail flow where you can do different kind of settings, and also anti-spamware filtering as well, which gives you flexibility in terms of how you can mitigate against spam. And whichever one you're not okay with, you can either set it to go into the junk mailbox, or you get it sent to the quarantine mailbox. And we also spoke about the importance of user awareness. Like they always say that your weakest link is always your user. So you need to be able to equip them with the necessary information to better secure themselves on online. So moving to today's presentation, why email security? How come this email is very important? Because this is the most popular way in which people communicate, which people collaborate. According to Gartner, email is the primary targeting method for advanced attacks. And not only that, over 5 billion fake emails are being sent every day, according to Tech Republic. And not only that, 91% of cyber attacks begin with a spear phishing email. And most of all, these emails don't get reported by the end user. It's only 3% of these people that report this incident that, oh, you know what, I got a malicious looking email and all of that. Because if they don't report this to the IT team, they won't know how to properly mitigate or put proper mitigation process in place to guide or to protect against this kind of email. And also, according to FBI, over the past few years, there have been companies that have lost over $2 billion to business email scam. So which makes email security a very, very important thing that we need to consider. So before I go ahead, like I said, you don't know how you're going to protect your email, your asset, without knowing your responsibility. So Office 365 is a software as a service. So which means we need to understand what our responsibility will be if you're running Office 365. So you are in charge of your user authentication, errors, insider threat, and the likes, and also application usage. How are people using your application? How are they connecting to your application? So that is your responsibility. And also the security aspect of it in terms of protecting yourself against ransomware, phishing attack, and viruses, which we're going to be focusing on today. It is your responsibility. Why the platform provider, in this case, Microsoft, all they need to worry about the infrastructure. Is it highly available? In terms when disaster strikes, do they have proper backup to ensure you are up and running without any disruption at all? Now I'm going to Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection. So it comes in two flavors, Plan 1 and Plan 2. Basically what it does for you is it gives you the ability to protect and and detection capabilities in form of safe attachment. So the safe attachment it protects end users from malicious attachments. So it scans those attachments before it gets to the end user. And also safe link. What safe link does is when a link is being embedded into your email, the safe link scans those links to be sure that those links are not malicious. And it doesn't end there. It doesn't stop at just email alone. It extends to SharePoint, your OneDrive, your Microsoft team, because these are ways people collaborate. So, and they share documents, they share links and the like. So it is very, very important that these medium are being protected as well. And also one of the features that you have is anti-phishing protection, which protects you against spoofing and impersonation, where people try to spoof your domain, or people try to carve out an email that looks like a legitimate email. Meanwhile, it is not. So the anti-phishing protection deals with all of that. And not only that, it works, there is a real-time detection whereby all these things are being detected in real time. So with Plan 2 comes with everything Plan 1 has. But in addition, it gives you the automation, the investigation, and also to be able to remediate most of these issues. And it gives you education capability in terms of you being able to track the threats, explore the threats to gain insight into it. You can automate investigation and also respond. And also another feature that I like is Attack Simulator, which you can use to do phishing campaign and all of that. So for you to be able to use ATP, you must, if you're running Microsoft 365 Business Premium, it already comes with ATP Plan 1. But if you're not doing that, probably you're just running the basic Office 365 license, for example, E1, and you need ATP feature, you can buy it as an add-on. So for Plan 1, it costs about $3 per user, if you want to buy it as an add-on. While your Plan 2 comes with, if you run Office 365 E5, A5, and Microsoft 365 E5, it comes automatically with Plan 2. And if you want to buy Plan 2 and you're not running on any of these subscriptions, then you can buy it as an add-on. That costs about $5 per month per user. So moving into the features of advanced threat protection. So before I go further, I would like us to compare the Exchange Online protection features and advanced threat protection features. Because like I said, before any email will come in or leave Office 365 tenant, it goes through the EUP, starting from the connection filtering, checking the IP, if the IP is from a legitimate source, or if the IP has not been blocked. Then it goes through the anti-malware engine to ensure that the email doesn't contain any anti-malware. Then it goes through the mail flow rules. If you've had any email, any rules set in place already to take effect, those take effect. And also content filtering to look at the body of the email, the content of the email, to ensure there are no spammy content in it. While the advanced threat protection, it comes with things like safe link, safe attachment, and also anti-phishing features. Now let's start with, so this is an holistic view of what the ATP contains. You have things like anti-phishing, the safe link, and you can see from the description what they do. You have the safe link as well. You have anti-spam. And you can see for you to go there, you go to your portal, you go to admin, security and compliance, you select threat management, and you click on policy to be able to configure most of these things. I'll show you in the demo how these things can be configured. Now, what is SafeLink? So like I told you earlier, SafeLink protects end users from clicking on malicious email. Because when you just see a link, you don't know what the link will redirect to. There's some link that will be embedded within another link. Meanwhile, you'll be seeing something else at the surface. Well, beneath that link, there is something else there. And if your end users are not well, if they are not well educated on how to, spot out these things, then you might run into issue, and that is what ATP safe links will help you with. So what it does is scan every emails for malicious link. It checks the link when they are being clicked, and not only that, it rewrites the URL first. So it doesn't go directly to the link. It will write the URL, check the URL, and you could see from my right hand side, you could see how the link has been rewritten. Not only that, you can block specific URL from being clicked in Office. Probably there is a certain site that you know that they have been using this site for phishing campaign. You can block that site outrightly. But what you should note is it will only be blocked within your Office 365 app. People can still navigate to that site from their browsers. So for you to block something like that, you need to either use your firewall or any proxy applications that you have. And also you can do block click-through for malicious links. So what happened is just like, when you try to navigate to a site that has no, what's the word? A site that has no SSL certificate. You get prompted that this website is not, it might be malicious. Do you want to go ahead or not? That is what happens by default here too. So irrespective of what the warning, users can still want to go ahead and visit the website. But with the block click-through, they will not have the access to do that. And also, let's assume there are some sites that you trust. You don't want them to be rewritten. You can always, put those websites. Okay, this website, they are trusted, so you don't have to rewrite the URL. And what you should know is that when you implement this thing, it might affect your mail delivery. Not all the time, and it doesn't delay that much, but you might see like a minute or two, less than 5 minutes delay, once in a while. Now, going to an ATP safe attachment. So what this does is to protect your end users from what malicious attachment. So what it does is when an email is being sent and it comes with an attachment, the attachment get detonated in like a sandbox. So what happened is Microsoft spin up a VM at the background, and these emails get open and try to see the behavior of that attachment. Is the attachment trying to call registry, or is it trying to download some other executable files online? It checks all of these things before the emails get delivered. And one of the beauty is you can actually preview the email while the scanning is being taking place, and you could see from the right hand side, you could see that ATP scan in progress at the top. It's telling you that these attachment is being scanned. But if you can't wait and you still want to preview the message or the content of the attachment, you can preview it. So it opens using one word online. So there is nothing happening on your system at all. So, and you have different policies that you can implement. You can start with monitor. With monitor, what it does is probably just want to use it to learn to know how frequently you get this kind of emails and all of that before you actually implement it. So that monitor doesn't do anything. It just monitors and tells you information regarding the email. And you can say, what? If you spot any malicious email, any malicious attachment, just block it outrightly. Or I would advise you go with dynamic delivery. What dynamic delivery does is it delivers the email. After delivering the email, it delivers the email, but it doesn't come with the attachment. So it is scanning the attachment, but it doesn't want to delay the contents of the email. Others will scan the attachment, ensure they are okay before they get delivered. And like I said, most of these things, when you implement them, they might affect the the delivery time of your email. And like I said earlier, this thing extends beyond email, because email is not the only form of, is not the only medium we use in collaborating. SharePoint is there, OneDrive is there, Teams is there. We share document within, this conduit. We share links and the like. So that, is included as well. Now, also another feature that it comes with is ATP anti-phishing. So what anti-phishing does is to protect you from spoofing and impersonation. So it can detect what we call lookalike domains and email addresses. Now, look at what I have here. Can you spot the difference between the two Google URL that I have here? They both have, to me, they kind of look alike. But if you look at the second one very well, you see that the second O is not, is, you know, telling us something different. That is um, a Roman alphabet. You know, if you don't pay attention, you might not be able to, you might not be able to see these things. Meanwhile, you are going to somewhere else. Now, if you look at the addresses too, you could imagine, I mean, receiving email from info@tclatp.com, and I saw info. If you look at the two email addresses, they kind of look alike, right? So if you don't pay attention, you will not be able to spot the difference. If you look at the second one, it has double T, and that is what anti-phishing will do for you automatically. You know, it has this machine learning algorithm underneath that goes through all of these things and check all of these things. So it does this thing for you without having to stress yourself. You know, and you can set the setting on what, when you spot something like this, what should be the action? Should I send it to the junk mailbox? Should I redirect it to another mailbox for monitoring, or should I quarantine the email? So I'm going to show you all that settings. So just to show you an overview of how advanced threat protection, how it works. So this is how it works. When it sends you an email and you're on Office 365, the first thing it does, it goes through the Exchange Online antivirus engine, you know, through the connection filtering, the anti-malware filtering, your mail flow, and also your anti-spam filter. It goes through all of these things to be sure that there is nothing wrong with it. But the EOP has limitation. Now, for example, a 0-day malware, it will not be able to detect something like that. That is what something like ATP will do for you. So if there's an attachment, you know, it takes it to the destination chamber in a sandbox. It checks, is there any executable? Is there any registry call? Or probably there is any privilege elevation that is going on. If it's unsafe, it trashes the email depending on your settings. If it is not, you know, because there are some link, there's some URL that actually goes to a document. For example, let's assume I sent you a link to a document, you know, so it goes through all of that, it rewrites the link, and before being sent to the recipient. The same thing too for normal link that are being embedded into the email. So before the recipient gets the email, it needs to go through all these processes. Now it's demo time, so I would like to show you how these things can be set up. So let me go to. So I hope you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. So you could see you come from here, Microsoft, just go to your admin portal, you click on security, it brings you to this page. Then you can just scroll down to the threat management and you click on policy, and you see all what you have, the policies that you have, the features that you can play with. So starting with ATP safe links, let's see what we can do with it. So with ATP safe links, it comes with the organization, you know, policy that covers the whole organization, and also user specific rules as well that you can set. So by default, you can see what comes with the organization. You can click on it and you can edit it as well. So from here, because I don't want my users, you know, going to Facebook. So what I've done is I've added Facebook here. You can block any URL that you want to block here. So I've added Facebook here. So what it means is when Facebook is being, you know, added to any of the emails, users will not be able to navigate to it. So, and you can see it protects all your Office 365 apps, you know, your PowerPoint, your Word, your Excel, you know, and the likes. So you could see here, if you want to prevent users from click-through, let's assume ATP link has detected a link as being malicious. So what happened is users will not be able to go forward. But if you don't click that, they will get the notification. But if they are nosy user, they will still want to go ahead and they will be able to go through. So this is the organizational wide settings. So let me take you through the individual settings that you can do, because the beauty of Office 365 and 80, it is flexible. You know, you can test it out. You can have like a pilot group, like, you know, I want to test this feature out. Let me restrict it to a certain group, a certain user, and all of that. It gives you that flexibility. So this is what I have created. I can just, let's just look at what I have here. For you to create it from scratch, all you just need to do is to click this plus sign and open. So this is what I have created here. I call it all users. The setting that I have is I'm turning protection for all the URLs within email. Not only that, I don't want to restrict it to email alone. I have, you know, extended it to Microsoft Teams as well. You can see that it is turned on, and also I've, you know, applied real-time URL scanning. You know, whereby it scans your links in real time, and also, yeah, so it does that. Then the apply save link to email within. So now I don't want to leave it to chance that, okay, because the emails is being sent from one, you know, from internal sender to another internal recipient, you know, the email is legit. They might just get that link from somewhere else. They don't know if it's malicious or not. So I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to block it as well. I want it to go through the scanning as well. So that is why I've, you know, enabled these as well. I don't want to track the user. I don't want to know where they are going to. I just want the ATP to do its work. I've also enabled them not to be able to do click-through. And now, because I know that my users use Google a lot and I trust Google, I have added Google here to not be rewritten, so that when it sees anything www.google.com, it doesn't rewrite the URL, it doesn't scan it, because I have said, you know, I trust this link. Now I can go to apply to. Who do I want to apply this thing to? Here I've gone ahead to select everybody within my domain. I can go and say, okay, you know what, I want to just target a specific recipient or probably a member of a group. You know, you have that flexibility. You can add other condition. Okay, you know what, I want to give it to a certain recipient that belongs to a certain group, and you can have exception as well if you want. So let me just show you. If you want to create it from scratch, just click on the plus sign and you have it. You give it a name, test. You know, do I want to put this on? Yes, I want it on. I want this on. You know, things like that. All these features, you just look at them. Whatever you want turned on, you click on it. And if there is any URL you don't want it to be rewritten, what do? You just add the URL here and you click on save. That is about that. This is where you know, select who the target users will be. If I want a certain recipient, I can just go here, a list all the recipient, and you know what do? I select them. Or I want, you know, I can have more than one domain in my tenant. I can just come here and say, you know what, I want to target a specific domain because I have just one domain. That is why it's listing. When if I have more than one, you see all the domains being listed and all of that. So let's just quickly test how ATP save link works. So this is it here. This is a link that I have sent. If you remember from the configuration, we blocked Facebook outrightly because we don't want people navigating to Facebook. Not only that, we said Google should not be rewritten because I trust Google. I don't want it to be rewritten. Then any other link has to be rewritten. That is why I have 3 links that I'm testing here. Now, if I hover over Facebook, if you look at the bottom the left of the browser, you could see that it has been rewritten to HTTPS, NAM10, safe link protection, and everything like that. It has been rewritten. So if I click on Facebook, let's see if it's going to block Facebook or not. Can you see that this link has been what? Blocked. So users cannot navigate to the link. So let's assume I've enabled click-through. They might, in some instances, they will say, if you want to proceed, proceed at the bottom here. Because I've blocked click-through, they will not have that option. So going back to the email, Google, if you look at Google, because I have put Google as one of the domains that I trust, can you see that it doesn't rewrite Google at all? If you look at the bottom left of the screen, you see it is still showing the same URL. It has not been rewritten at all, because I've said, I trust this link. Now, if you look at the other one here, can you see it has been rewritten? Any other link will be rewritten for you. So what it does is Microsoft scans it, check if there are any malicious content in it or not before it gets sent to the end user. So that is that about that. So it scans it before it gets delivered. So that is everything about SafeLink. ATP SafeLink. You see how we can better protect our users against phishing, because you see people send links and to solicit for your credentials, your username and password without knowing. You just open a link and you see that it's something familiar. Meanwhile, the link points to something different entirely. So let's go back to the next thing we're going to try out is SafeLink. Safe Attachment. Like I said, the Safe Attachment protects you from malicious, your users from malicious documents. So how do you do that? You click on it and you see, like I said, not only email, it protects things like SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams. And you can see if you want it to protect them, all you just need to do is to turn these settings on. That is all you need to do. And you can come here and create your policy. You can have more than one policy. You can, have different policies targeted towards different users. So I've created one already. So let me just create another one from scratch. So what do? You give it a name, save test, attachment test. If you want to give it a description, you can go ahead. So how do you want it to work? By default, it gets turned off. Now I can say, I just want to monitor it for a while. I can click on monitor, like what I just want to have an overview of what is going on. Then you can track your result afterwards. Or, I just want to block it outrightly. If you detect any malicious content, please block the user. I don't want to receive anything from that user again. Anybody that sends you malicious content, obviously they are not reliable. They will send it. So I don't want to receive anything from them, for that is blocked. And you can, replace the content while it's being scanned, and also dynamic. Like I said, I always advise dynamic delivery, where your content doesn't get delayed. You get the content of the email while the attachment is being scanned somewhere else. And also, what you can, let's assume we have like a security team that you want them to have a second look at the document, the detected malware. You want them to go through it, analyze. You can just anything detected, redirect it to them. So you can just put the person's email. It might be a group email or something like that. You just send it across to them. So who do I want to apply it to? Is it everybody? Is it a certain user? Is it the whole domain or a member of a group? I can, this is where I make that selection. If there's any exception that I want to add, I'll put it out there. And also note, if you run in an hybrid environment whereby you have users on premise, you running Exchange, dynamic delivery will not work. Why? Because it cannot reattach the email again, because you have no access to your on-premise environment. So you should take note, if you run an hybrid environment, dynamic delivery will not work for your on-premises mailboxes. It is only for cloud mailboxes. So you can look at something like replace in that scenario. Or you have two policies. You have one for your cloud users, selecting dynamic delivery, and you have another one for your on-premise users, going with either block or replace or monitoring, depending on what you want. So that is that about safe attachment. So any attachment that are being sent to you, it gets scanned. The next thing which is the last one, is anti-phishing. Like I said, anti-phishing protects you from impersonation. It protects you from domain spoofing, things like that. It protects you from that. And to set it up, I think I've created one already. I created this policy. You can start by the default policy to check the default policy and, move from there. Let's create a new one and let's see. Um, we can call it um, test ATP policy. Sorry, ATP anti-phishing policy. Then if you want to give it any description, you put it there. Now, who are the people you want to apply? Like they say, your ATP, you should focus it on key people in your organization. That people that when they are being spoofed, it carries a lot of, there are lots of damages that can be done. People like your CEO, your accountant, things like that. Highly placed people within your organization, because those are the people that they will be targeting. So I can say, depending on what I want, is it everybody I want to apply it to or a certain recipient? I can come here and select the person. I want it to apply to Tyson Fury. If there's any other condition, I can add more than one user. If there's any condition that I want to specify, I can do that as well. Then next, so I can go ahead and start editing. So create this policy. It doesn't end there. Then I now need to go into the policy and edit it. For example, the impersonation policy, I can come here and start, editing things out. What do I want? Like you could see from here, add up to 60 internal or external users you want to protect from being impersonated. And we recommend adding users in key roles, people like your CEO, your CFO, and other senior leaders. So you can turn this on. I want to, then you add the users here, the users that you want to, the users that you want to protect. You can add as much as you want, but I think you can't go beyond 60. I've not tested it, but from what I have here, I'm not sure you can go beyond 60. Before it used to be like 20, but now it's 60. Hopefully in the future, they will increase it. Now, save, you go to the action. What action do you want? So when something like this is being detected, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to redirect the message to another email? You want me to, move it to the junk? You want me to quarantine the message? Or, these are what you are available to you. So you pick whatever you want. I can, I want it to go into my junk. If email, there is a difference between you are being, impersonating a user and a domain. Is when you try to send, there are applications online that can do that, whereby you just select any email that you want it to be sent from. Spoofing somebody's domain is using their domain. You can like abc at yourdomain.com, the exact domain that doesn't belong to you, while the user is, having a lookalike email address. And call me and say, what I want it is when you detect something like this from an impersonated domain, select, just send it to their junk email, or you want to send it to quarantine, whatever you want to do. So you have that setting. Then the mailbox intelligence as well, and I want to turn it on. So what do you do? Send it to junk as well. Do I want to, exclude some people from this thing, people that I trust? If it is emails, I can put them here, like, what, I trust this person. Any email that is coming from this person, don't bother letting it go through all these processes and all of that. Or if there's a domain that I trust, you can put that here as well. Then you can save your settings. And for the spoofing as well, you can go there and, enable all the actions that are there. What do you want to do? Do you want to send it to the junk? You check all of those settings out. And not only that, you can set how aggressive you want these things to work by setting the threshold. Number one, we are on standard. You use a standard, and I can say, what, I want this thing to be very, very aggressive. I've been having I've been experiencing different type of spoofing email and spam email like that. I want to make it be more aggressive. I can do that. and that is all that. So when somebody tries to spoof your email or your account, it gets detected and what? It sends it to the junk. I've done something like that already. I can just show you one here. Let me go to my junk mailbox. This is an email that was sent. If you look at this, it's Tyson Fury, but if you look at, so this is what we call display name spoofing. This is what the email address is, afeayan007@gmail. But if you look at the display name is Tyson Fury, so it doesn't add up, and that is why what it gets into my junk. But that was a setting that I have, that when this kind of email are being sent, send it to my junk. And if it is being quarantined, I can go to my quarantine page and look at these emails as well, and I can release them if I think they are legit, or delete them depending on what I want. So that is that about that. So we've spoken about anti-phishing, we've talked about safe attachment, and we've talked about ATP safe link. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for being part of this webinar. So if you have any question now, this is the time that you can ask now. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akim. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, fantastic. That's a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. I have learned a lot and see a lot that is possible with the platform you've just presented. However, the concern that I only have here is it looks like we, the non-IT user, are at the mercy of the techie guys like you. It seems everything that we have to do to protect ourselves lies in the hands of the IT professionals. So my question basically is, how do we, ordinary user, protect ourselves from all these malicious attackers? What are the things that we need to be able to do to, from our own comfort, protect ourselves without necessarily having to run to our IT professionals all the time?
All right, thank you so much for that question. So like they always say, information is power. Whatever you are not aware of or you don't know about, you won't know how to protect yourself. And I will still try to redirect that, question to the IT, and that is where we have things like user awareness training to be able to elucidate users on ways in which they can protect themselves and also be more security conscious. For example, people can send you a link, they can send you an email embedded with a link. You can just see probably gtbank.com. They want you to change your password or something like that. But underneath, they have went ahead to clone something like a GTB website. So you go there, what the first thing you see, you saw something familiar. You're seeing a page that looks like what you've been seeing before. You will totally forget the URL that this URL doesn't look alike. Because what you're just looking at, me, I need to quickly change my password because they have sent you some urgent email like you need to do this before a certain period of time. If you don't do it, you lose control of your account and all of that. Things like that. So it is very, very important that we have things like user security awareness, and subsequently we have webinars like that. My colleague here, Amin, will be talking on how users can better protect themselves on the internet as well. Probably next week we will share the webinar link as well, so that people can join and learn from all these things, ways in which they can protect themselves online. And there is this thing, common saying in IT is users are always the they are always the weakest link. So it is our responsibility to try as much as possible to protect them from them. So whatever they will have to, let them focus on what they have to do, and let's try as much as possible to protect them. But the user awareness will help them to be more security conscious and tell them, elucidate them, on things that they need to be wary of, things they need to be conscious about. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you. But one more thing that I thought I need to get clarity on also is for my system, for instance, I have a system that I use most often when I'm working from home. What are the things or what are the tools that I need to put in place to, aside being aware, what are the tools that I need to put in place for me to protect myself, basically, from attackers?
So, like they always say, security is a journey, not a destination. We can't always get there at once. It's something that we need to quickly improve on. But if I'm going to tell you that the basic thing every individual should have on their system is number one, an up-to-date antivirus. Then number two, ensuring that you are updating your computer all the time. You set your computer to auto update that as as soon as there are new updates, security updates, cumulative updates, it gets updated automatically. With these, your system will be protected. Let me cite an example for you. I was trying to come up with, set up my demo yesterday. I was, coming up, I was trying to create some malware attachments that I can use. Immediately when I'm done creating it and I paste it on my desktop, automatically the file will just disappear, which means my system antivirus is working, is doing its job. I don't know if you get that. So basically have a good antivirus that is up to date and also ensure that your operating system is always updated. So Mr. Ali asked a question that can I add this to a domain I added to Office 365? Yes, you can do that, provided that you have the license. Either you're running Business Premium for Plan 1 or you have O365 E5, A5 or Microsoft 365 E5 or you have add-on. So definitely you can add the policy to your domain. Is there any other question before we call it a day? Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in today's webinar. So subsequently, we'll be sending you links to other webinars that we have planned. Our next webinar will be on how we can protect ourselves from all these attackers online. Thank you so much. So there is a question that said, if an organization wants you to set up this security for them, what is the procedure? My company's website is Tech Specialist Consulting Limited. You can shoot me an email or reach out via our website, and people will reach out to you and see how we can help you implement these as well. So thank you very much, everybody. I will cut the call now. Thank you. Bye. Have a wonderful day.